President Trump is the first president, in the Republican side at least, to lose the House, the Senate, and the presidency in 4 years. Elections are about winning.
You think that if he ran, he could lose the nomination?
Well, if you want to win the presidency, and hopefully that's what voters are thinking about, I think he might.
It's clear you ain't voting for him.
I'm not.
Aside from everything else we report about Donald Trump, he's one of the biggest political losers in modern history. That was Republican Senator Bill Cassidy saying just that, telling Axios he won't be voting for Trump in 2024, and he believes that Trump would lose if he ran. He's not alone. Many members of the Republican Party are just too scared to say it out loud, but they really are afraid that Trump will torpedo their chances in elections to come. New York Times reports that GOP officials are concerned that Trump's obsession with the lie about election fraud that didn't exist is a divisive force that could cost them seats in the upcoming midterms. Former Republican Congresswoman Barbara Comstock tells the Times this, quote, Trump doesn't want other people to win without groveling to him. That's the threat. It's not about winning. It's all about him. And that's what's so stupid about Republicans even trying to deal with him, because you never know when he'll drive the car off the cliff. Joining our conversation is Charlie Sykes, editor-at-large of The Bulwark and MSNBC contributor. Jason Johnson's still here. Charlie, the only thing I disagree with Barbara Comstock on there, she called it the Thelma and Louise thing, is we're already at the bottom of the cliff looking up from the wreckage. It's over. He's driven the Republican Party off the cliff. He's pushing through voter suppression and voter nullification laws. Frankenstein is becoming, Frankenstein and his family. What keeps Bill Cassidy's sentiment from knocking some sense into the rest of the cowardly Republicans?
Yeah, well, if only they had been warned that this might actually happen. Look, I think you and I had an exchange a few months back where I referred to this as hostage taking, and you pushed back and said, look, it's not hostage taking because at this point it's completely voluntary. I mean, this is voluntary self-bonding of the Republican Party to Donald Trump. But look, Republicans actually think that they are going to win. They think they're on a glide path to win in the midterm election. So they don't think that they're at the bottom right now. But they're looking around going, okay, how could we possibly blow this? Could we blow this by having to go along with every one of Donald Trump's crackpot conspiracy theories? Because that is what he is demanding. And again, I find this utterly extraordinary how many off-ramps this party had to get off of Donald Trump. Senator Cassidy is talking about how he lost the House and the Senate and the presidency. That would have been a good time for Republicans to turn the page. Instead, they figured that they were going to stay on board despite all of the experience they've had with Donald Trump's narcissism and his petulant demand that they toe the line. And I think they're going to pay a price for it. I mean, this is this growing anxiety. But again, how can any of them be surprised? They made the same decision over and over and over again, which is to kowtow, to pull the forelock, to go along with Trump. And he keeps upping the ante. And here we are. And so not a lot of sympathy over here for Republicans that are just now deciding that maybe, hey, Donald Trump might be toxic for our political future.
Jason, I disagree very infrequently with Charlie, but they're not off-ramps because they're not trying to get off. They're not off-ramps. Because if they were looking for an off-ramp, grabbing women between the legs would have been one. Good people on both sides of a KKK rally would have been one. Calling African nations bleep whole countries would have been one. Hanging Mike Pence might have been one after losing the House and the Senate and the White House. They're not trying to get off. This is who they are. And when do we just change all the models to say they are a pro-insurrection, pro-killing Mike Pence, pro-racist party? Let's vote.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, Nicole. Not only are Republicans not trying to get off the Trump train, they're fighting and scalping tickets to get on it. I mean, look at Herschel Walker in Georgia right now, trying to do fundraisers with Trump. Look at what was just happening with Larry Elder out in California. Look at what Abbott is doing in Texas. The people who are running right now, who are Republicans, are lining up to get as Trumpish as possible. Now, Does that hurt you in swing states? Yes. I was just at a rally for Terry McAuliffe in Northern Virginia yesterday, and merely saying the name Trump gets everybody to boo. It's like saying Washington football team around here. Like, people will boo the moment that you say it. Trump doesn't work for swing states. But if you're a Republican, that's the name you say for the nomination. We've got to stop pretending that Republicans are conflicted about this because one or two guys says, well, maybe he went a little too far. People tried to kill you in January because that guy sent them. If that doesn't make you quit him, nothing will.
Yeah, I mean, and Charlie, I didn't mean to pick on you, but just this idea that people like Cassidy populate the sort of most vibrant parts of the Republican Party is what I take issue with. They don't.
No, they don't. But Cassidy is a United States senator. He was one of those United States senators that voted to remove Donald Trump from office.
To convict him, right.
We need to remember that there were, convict him. And I keep, thinking about, you and I are both old enough to remember when people thought that maybe Colin Powell was the future of the Republican Party. Instead, I think he was a very early ex-Republican because I think he saw which way the Republican Party was going. So you did have two roads that could have been taken, and this is a rather dramatically different one. But for the Republicans who are privately, sharing their concerns, I mean, that's gotten way, way, way old. And, I remember 5 years ago warning Republicans, if you go along with Donald Trump, you're going to own all of this. You're going to own every insult. You're going to own every slur. You're going to own every dishonesty. And Republicans basically said, yeah, okay, we're okay with that. And they've been saying it for the last 5 years. And now I think they've lost the muscle memory that tells them how to break away from this if they ever wanted to. But no, they apparently have decided that this is the party. They're going to go into the midterms. They're going to go into 2024 flying the Trump banner. Good luck with that.
What do you think happens, Jason? You think they take the wrong lessons from the possibility that they have some success? They seem to be good at that as well.
Well, Nicole, I think they've taken the right lessons, and the right lessons are you can rally people around a lie based on white supremacy and sexism and nationalism and homophobia and everything else like that. And a key thing to understand why Republicans are optimistic next year, even if they're sort of waving themselves and wrapping themselves in a Trump burrito, is they're going to cheat. I mean, they're just going to make voting laws throughout the country that guarantee that they're going to win. There are very few states right now, Nicole, where there is a very good, active, organizing Republican Party. The Republican Party in Georgia is in shambles because they haven't had to work in so long. They just figure that they're going to pass legislation and make it harder for Democrats to vote. The Republican Party isn't really ready to run a campaign outside of the Midwest. They just figure if we can pass enough voter suppression, wrap ourselves in Trump, and intimidate the other side, we can win in 2022.
We'll be watching. Charlie Sykes, Jason Johnson, thank you for spending some time with us today.